morning to Michael. Aware. Good morning to everyone over there. Good morning to you, Michael. I hope you are doing very good. Sierra Leone MPs scaffold over electoral reform. Wow, an interesting one there. And Zimbabwe president called for peace ahead of general election. You know, he said he's standing again. Wow. That's his first journey. So he's going for a second one. I don't know what the constitution says there, but we'll bring you more on that front. Okay, it is Starr Radio UK. The ceasefire in resting is DR Congo as soon as Friday. Hopefully that will hold. And then Omariata is presenting the 2023 budget amendment. Now what happens after that? Anti-John Mahama tag is a ploy to personalize NDC and destroy internal democracy. It's one of the stories making the rounds in Ghana as well. Now moving on straight to other parts of the world to look at what is happening there. Record COVID cases for China despite tough action. Cases are increasing. Increasing across the country with the virus now present in 31 different provinces. Are they going to shut it down? Afghans sedating hungry children and selling organs. Wow, that is serious. And Afghans saying they are also forced to sell kidneys and their daughters to get money for food. How desperate the situation. But some people are there saying that, well, we are the ones and this is how we think that the order has to be. And they are trying to hold power and tell them what to do there. Very sad one. Sarah Palin has been defeated again in Alaska comeback bid. The Republican suffered her second loss in 3 months to Mary Peltola, the first Alaskan native elected to Congress. My goodness. Well, so what are the chances of Donald Trump now for the next election, where he has thrown his heart into the ring, making that announcement last Tuesday? What do you think is going to happen there? Lots more going to be coming your way. Now, Scottish schools shut as teachers strike over pay. Now, please bear with me. I told you I'm recovering, so yes. Students face disruption as uni strikes again.
Okay, well, very good morning. As a lot of people are waking up every day with so much expectation, and so many people concerned with how the Yoruba nation and where we are. It doesn't matter all our concern. What will be. Immediately after Starr Radio, we're going to end the broadcast because I've got a very busy schedule. So, but this is how far we can do for now. Later on, I'll be on again. I don't have a time for my program anymore. You have to set up your notification to follow our broadcast. And I don't have any particular day or time. But we will make sure that we are out every day, especially for so many people that are worried about the movement and where we are. And you are to be worried, especially when we look at Big Book Conscience Law. And Tobano are worried. Change your mother Yoruba nation bureau for where? Nígbà tá ti mọ̀ pé ìrìn àjò ti anybody kọ́, so kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan kan tó lè dìlé ẹ̀. Ní tó bá wọn olúkálukú dẹ̀ ló lè sọ. Ìyẹn la ṣe ń pè ní self-determination. Nígbà tó ń ṣe pé à ń enforce anybody. Ìyẹn kankan dẹ̀ lè enforce anybody. So, and that's the beauty of the world that we are living now. Àgbẹ̀ ní ayé military tí ó burú jù lágbàáyé. Adolf Hitler ó burú, kò sẹ́ni tó burú tó pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ náà. Ibo Adolf Hitler wà lẹ́ni nísìn. So táwọn èèyàn bá ní ẹ má jẹ́ kó béèrè question. Báwo ló ṣe rí báyìí? Ọ̀wẹ́ kò dá ṣingbáń dúró. Ṣingbáń kò dá dúró. So ṣé èèyàn kan lè ṣe kò possible, multiple task ni èèyàn kan ò lè dá ṣe. ṣé wọ́n ṣe infrastructure sí Kogi tẹ̀ máa fi rí network ni ẹ̀ tẹ̀ máa dúpẹ́ parí kankan wò níbẹ̀. Ìlú ṣé ìlú tó ń ṣé ìlú yẹn ṣiṣẹ́ ni wọ́n sọ fáwọn èèyàn pé kò ṣiṣẹ́. wọ́n darapọ̀ mọ́ studio nísìnyí so but tí bá ti parí I'm not gonna stay 3-5 minutes. I'm gonna end the broadcast straight away because mo ní ibi tí mò ń lọ lẹ́nu so tí bá dé bí a ti bá ti wọlé tí mo sinmi tí mo jẹun àwa bá ṣe program. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń béèrè so many questions but àwọn tó yẹ ká béèrè question kan lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ I'm sure a lot of people asking fóònù ti kún voice note oríṣiríṣi là ń gbọ́ lójoojúmọ́ because olúkálukú náà ní èyí tó fẹ́ sọ sí ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation. mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o as we are now preparing to hit the ground this morning. I'm going to be calling the studio in just about a few minutes. I'm just finishing the remaining tidy up. Please, nobody should call me because we're live now. Please don't do so. We're not taking any calls on any of my numbers. Emma Binu, we're using my phone to rebroadcast until I have, good morning Odelia, I saw you there, my brother. Until I have a better system where I can run the software simultaneously. But for the time being, I will only go with what I have, so which is what I'm using right now. So, all right, let's call the studio and let's kickstart the program. Enjoy the Wahala news from the shit old country you call Nigeria. Morimbe Egbomi Olasheun mo kí gbogbo yín ti Ogun State. Ẹ má yẹ kí ọ̀kan sọ pé ìrìn àjò yìí ti ní standstill for where? Ìrìn àjò tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ni. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè dá dúró. Wọ́n lè kàn máa gbìyànjú pé bóyá olóṣèrí báyìí but everybody mọ̀ pé kò ṣe dá dúró. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè dá dúró. Ibi gan lè dá dúró. Ìgbòho gan lè dá dúró. Bàbá Akíntóyè lè dá dúró. Ìyá Onítìrí gan lè dá dúró. Bàbá organisation kankan lè dá dúró. Tó bá yá olúkálukú máa mọ̀ pé nígbà tá a bá jáde nísìn ẹ máa pa yín tẹ́ bá jáde fún super rally. Tó bá pa wá àwa náà máa pa wọ́n. Àṣírí mo gé yẹn. Tó bá pa wá àwa gan máa pa wọ́n. A máa para wa ni. Ẹ rò pé freedom máa wá without pé ká ní jà. Ẹ lọ tuntun ẹ̀dànù ta ló sọ fún mi pé ni ṣé gé ìjà ń bọ̀ ẹ lọ máa dira yẹn kan sọ pé àníjà àwọn lọ sọ fún mi pé àníjà a máa ja ṣé gé ìjà ń bọ̀ ẹ pé studio jàre ebi mi sọ fún yín ní last year mo sọ fún yín ní year before ẹ fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation Scotland nísìn ni wọ́n fún ní referendum nísìn ẹni pé wọ́n ní jà ẹ fẹ́ gba mùdùmùdù lọ́wọ́ Fúlàní àtàwùsá àtàwọn àwọn politician ò lè yín ebi wọnú studio lọ́jà rẹ̀.
Saying that, well, we also have hope that things will turn around. So whatever you are, that's you. And I can tell you that with everything that we do here on this platform, we make sure that we give you some hope or bring you some hope. That look, it's not the end of life. Some way, somehow, your resilience can do it, can pay up for you. So if you're a believer, you say the faith. So thank you very much for tuning in once again. Starr Radio UK. It's my singular honor now to introduce to you the one and only Mr. Olayomi Koiki, the White Lion, who is back this morning once again to deliver on his promise of bringing the world closer to you. And let me say good morning to Bishop Adesina as well. He says kudos to you, my Bishop. All right, then. Let me say, Yomi, massive good morning to you.
Well, it is a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all the friends and fans of Star Radio UK. Good morning to our co-presenter. Good morning to all the engineer and the sound engineer that are working behind the scene. And I say good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, the indigenous people. Good morning, Nigerians. And good morning to the world.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Well, as you can see, there's always smiles. I was actually listening to you as I was coming in, but I was actually saying the same thing because we have about five or six network that is connected to us to my left hand side. So we have a lot of people that listen to Star Radio UK from the sister broadcast. And I was actually telling them while I was getting that ready that in the midst of everything, there will still be hope to the Yoruba nation because there has been a lot of things after a declaration was made on Monday, but it seems it is gone into where questions are being asked whether it is authentic declaration of a Yoruba nation or not, and whether, as the Star Radio UK Niger Voices was on yesterday, we also received a press statement that we'll be discussing this morning regarding that declaration. So in the midst of turmoil, there will always be hope. And that was exactly what I heard from you while I was joining as well. So I say, once again, there is hope for those of you that listen to us on Star Radio UK, because we try to make sure we give you the hope in the midst of everything.
Thank you very, very much there. Mr. Lani will not call himself a prophet. I will not call myself a prophet. But somehow, some way, one can talk through us or speak through us to you. So though we are doing the program, it's that, it's just a mere program. But we're here to encourage you. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. You believe in the cause, stand for it, as I say all the time. But let's go straight to what we discussed on Niger Voices. Now, yesterday we listened to the verdict that came from the Supreme Court here in the UK pertaining to the Scottish referendum. And the Supreme Court here was saying that, well, they cannot have a referendum. And we know that they're giving them the opportunity to have a first referendum. But they're saying that they cannot have another referendum without the consent of Westminster. But some debate that has gone on, and the Scottish First Minister has come out to say that, look, we are in this union. We've all agreed it's not by force. So that's why we are in this union. And therefore, we have the right to decide that, look, we are fed up with whatever is going on, but we want to go. But as to whether the whole of the Scottish people are in agreement, whether they want to leave or not, at least they've been given the opportunity. A second one, they are saying that, okay, they're not going to give them, but they're still going on to say that, look, when it comes to the next general election, we are going to show people that it's like a protest vote to show people that, look, we really want to leave the union. Now, I listened to it very quietly and I asked myself the question, has Nigeria even given the chance to the Southwest, the Middle Belt, and the Southeast for them to even say that, look, we went for a referendum, yet our people decided, or majority of our people decided that they are okay with what is happening in the union. Has anything of the sort been given or done at all? Can you go on to that part?
And for those of you that probably missed Niger Voices, this is a program that has been going on air for the last 5 years on one of the finest African and Caribbean radio stations in London, Star Radio UK. It comes up every Wednesday at exactly 1800 hours to about 2000 hours, which is about 6 p.m. local time in London, and that will be 7 p.m. for those of you back in Nigeria. Yesterday, we took the journey of what took place here in UK after the judgment from the Supreme Court of United Kingdom, one of the most highest court in the land. And when they make decision, is either you agree with it or you disagree with it. And I was trying to do what we call a comparison. It took us almost an hour, 15 minutes for me to give that analysis, explain to those of us that are asking for the self-determination, which is our right, just as the Scottish are saying that the union is no longer working. Couple of points that you raised quickly was whether the government in Nigeria is even giving any room to such where the indigenous people will be allowed, a sort of a referendum. First and foremost, there is a court case, not from the Yoruba people, but within a particular set of people in Nigeria at the Federal High Court, asking for a referendum to allow the indigenous people decide their fate in what is known as Nigeria today. And the argument is whether the court will interpret, because what we saw yesterday is the court interpreting the law. The court looks at two things that I was able to explain to our listeners. There's what we call devolution, and devolution is trying to give power, to the bottom. Not that Scottish government does not have the power as we speak today, but the majority of the decision still comes from the parliament in Westminster, where we have 533 members of parliament as against 59 Scottish members. When we take that to comparison with Nigeria today, the reason why we cannot get a state or police in Nigeria where each of the governors from the southeast to the middle belt will be able to have a police is because the majority in the Senate is coming from the northern part of Nigeria, and not literally majority of them disagree with it, but if you are meant to take into consideration what the former governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun, said, that he should want a state police, but his colleagues in the Senate disagree with that. And because there's a majority somewhere that has been given in the northern part of the country, and the question then is, since the UK is not giving what we call Council of Order, which was allowed in 2013 that led to the referendum. The question is, as the agitation continue from the Biafra and the Yoruba, will the government at all give room to dialogue? It took me back again to the letter that was written to the government in August by the self-determination movement and the leader, Professor Banji Akintoye. The government refused to listen to that letter, did not reply, and that letter says, we want a peaceful dialogue. Is it going to be peaceful, or are we going to get to a situation where the protests that will be coming before the end of the year will lead to the final dissolution of Nigeria? Time will tell. This is Starr Radio UK, and this was part of the discussion that went on throughout the program. And there were other areas that we talked about. We talked about the Afenifere, our leader, Afenifere, the social cultural group that has been known for decades during the era of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He was actually on the ground. I'm not talking about Awolowo because Awolowo died, in the 80s. But the leader of that social cultural group today decided, yesterday, to attend the Labour Party campaign in Ibadan, which is in the southwest of Nigeria, the Yoruba ground, to say it is no longer the turn of the Yoruba, it's no longer the turn of the North, it is the turn of the Southeast, and the candidate for that is Peter Obi. All this was also discussed yesterday. Some are calling them Afenifebi. Afenifebi literally means that those that probably doesn't even love the Yoruba people. The question is ethnicity being played out as we are going into 2023 for those of us that are also saying we want the right to self-determination? We also talked about one of our colleagues that is also a self-determination campaigner, and the information coming up to say that it seems that his arrest in Turkey has got to do with the Nigerian government. Part of all this was discussed yesterday, but the most important part was after a letter or a press release to say the declaration that was made by one of our leaders that also was on the Starr Radio UK, Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, has now been said is a false declaration. It has now turned turmoil in the heart and minds of the Yoruba people that are campaigning and want the actualization of a Yoruba nation. Starr Radio UK, 11 minutes past, and I'll come back to you now in the studio.
Yes, listeners, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, Mr. Live in our North London studio. But before I come to talking about to acknowledge those of you who have joined us. Now, in a segment in the Prime Minister's question time yesterday, when the question was posed to the Prime Minister that why, though the Supreme Court has ruled this way, but why are they not allowing even the Scottish to do that? He was saying that since he came to power, he has gotten in touch with the Scottish First Minister. So at least you see that though the Supreme Court has ruled, and here we know that when the laws, I mean, when the courts rule, I mean, people adhere to it. It doesn't matter whatever you want to do, whoever you want, you have to adhere to it. So he said that no, though the Supreme Court has ruled this way, yet when I came into power, I've spoken to Nicola Sturgeon so that we can see the best way to make sure that the whole of the UK and Scotland as a whole will also grow. But we don't see that. And you were talking about the letter that Professor Akintoye wrote to the federal government, that up to now, they decided not to look at it, they decided not to talk about it. And therefore, if people are agitated, then what is happening? Now, before I read that those comments, the declaration that was made by Mrs. Abiola, now, what did it say? Was it her? Why are they disputing that?
Well, it seems that the situation we have in the hands at the moment was that whether the leaders are working, together, as a one block, or whether they are working separately for the same mission, but are they carrying each other along? Remember that the movement started in 2019, from what I can recollect, when Professor Banji Akintoye took the Yoruba to the UNPO, which stands for the Unrepresented People and Organization. And these gather the momentum that we should not allow an election to be held, rather we should allow the dissolution of Nigeria. That took us to Ninas that gave the government 90 days on the force majeure. The force majeure was to bring down the 1999 constitution and then allow, what we can call, either a new constitution that works for the people and decide the unity of Nigeria. There was a bit of skepticism. I remember we went on the ground in Nigeria last year when the force majeure was expiring in April. Even there was a kind of an extension. Another 30 days was given to our governors to bring down the 1999 constitution. But at some point, the constitution and the bringing down from the Ninas did not work. Ninas continued to operate, but the Yorubas from the leader moved out of that. I'm just giving a background to some of what has happened. In along the line, we now have Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri that came as well, and then she brought in the 5 million petition that was agreed by all the leaders, and that was quickly done. Within 3 weeks, we had the 5 million petition. But it seems that, there was kind of what we can call not carrying along each other, to know what is the next move so that we can then get to where we are going. They both agree that there will be a declaration. They will all agree that they will also have a super rally. But it seems that, one was either being delayed for the other because the super rally continued to be pushed, but the date has not been announced yet. But on Monday this week, we then got, the information coming out to us for the declaration of the Yoruba out of the Nigeria. I listened to her, day before yesterday when she was explaining what that means. And yesterday, we are on the program when we got again a press release that came, from the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, which consists of the 70 groups put together to bring that movement. Remember that Chief Mrs. Modupe has also confirmed in what she said that there's an interim government in place. She talked about, chief of staff. She talked about, the control of the Navy and so many other areas that are interim. But even though we've not been presented with some of these individuals, but we are already being told that from her. But what we got yesterday has also now contradict, what she says on Monday from the leader of the movement, which is Professor Banji Akintoye. A lot of people are a little bit skeptical that it seems that they are pushing us to 2023, even though Professor Akintoye have said it continuously that that is not going to happen, that it will be this year that the Yoruba will get their independent, but we would have to go through the super rally, which would be then announcing the declaration. This was what he said on the 8th of October and even up to over the weekend when he was interviewed. But yesterday, he came to have a press release to say, Declaration of the Yoruba Nation. We, the official Yoruba self-determination movement, wish to respond to the claim that the Yoruba Nation has been declared. Such claims were circulated widely on the multiple social media platforms on the 20th of November 2022. These claims are false, not only misleading, but having the dangerous potential to destabilize the true and legal route to self-determination. Since the beginning of the struggle in 2018, we have sought to employ only peaceful method, utilizing the legal instrument outlined in the international law and the Nigerian constitution provision for self-determination. These methods have not been changed. The only person authorized on behalf of the Yoruba self-determination movement is our leader, Professor Banji Akintoye. We therefore caution all Yoruba people to be wary of believing anything reported by other sources. Professor Akintoye will be making official announcement of the Yoruba Big Rally in the coming weeks through the official website, ysdm.org. We hug our faithful Yoruba public to wait patiently for his release. In the meantime, we ask you to be vigilant in your avoidance of being misled by false claims. The question now is, are we being misled by Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri as one of the leaders of this movement? And this has now become too many voice notes, too many information, and some Yorubas now are more worried whether there will be a Yoruba nation before 2023.
Wow, listen, let's start already 11:21, and that is where I will call them together. They put their heads together because everybody is depending on them. The moment they meet, there is a division in the league, they're going to have a problem. So I hope that they put their differences together and then carry each other together. Maybe some will want it now, let's do it tomorrow, let's go and announce it. Others are strategizing to see when best to do it and then can have the massive impact. So I hope that the leaders, they do listen to us, and I hope they are listening in this morning. So a word of advice to them. Morning was saying, good morning all, and a very big congratulations to Yoruba Nation on our declaration and a prosperous super rally. Now it goes on further to say, he said, Awolowo died in May 9, 1987, and he went with the original Ferry template. What we have now is counterfeit. Okay, and Alamo Ola says, Fulanis will perish soon if they don't allow Biafra and Yoruba Nation to go now. God purposely gave them oil and gold so they have something to live on. But if they still don't want to divide Nigeria, they will surely see God's wrath. My goodness. Now, Michael Aware says, now, good morning, Mr. Koiki, the White Lion. Carry on the good job you have been doing. God bless you. And Felicia Aware says, Koiki, good morning to everyone there as well. Oluola says, Baba Akintoye can say whatever he wants. We have declared our nation. So people are just taking that declaration that, yes, it is for them. Whatever, so far is one of the leaders who pronounced it, they are taking it on as that. All right, then. What do you think? Continue to put your comment there, and we promise you one thing for sure, that we're going to be reading them. But before we move on to the story that is making the round this morning, is there any meetings going on between the executives at the moment? Have you heard anything of the sort? Because people want to know that the front or the lead is not divided or anything of the sort at all.
Well, I'm aware that there's a lot of, on the ground conversation that is now going out quickly, but not to the public. But like you said, one thing is unity is one of the key stage, to move the movement forward. And without the unity, if the leaders are so much divided, then that would also have issues, with those that are the followers, as we can say. And as you can tell there, some agree with Professor Akintoye, while some disagree with him, and some agree with Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, and some also disagree that she needs to carry them along, and that is now a lot of concern, and that is bringing a lot of messages and conversation among the Yoruba movement.
Now, last one before we move on. Have they been, have they executives, have they got various positions announced, or it's just a fragmented front? Or this one is, we know that this one is outspoken, this one is outspoken. So we have the chairman, they made a deputy, and that. So everybody knows their position as the team who are leading this particular program.
Well, from what after the declaration on Monday, from what she explained, the day after that was that the interim government is been set up. Nobody knows who are the interim government. We've not been given the details yet, and we are looking forward to have those information so that we can put the question to those boiling question in the minds of people. And if there's an interim government, there must also be a spokesperson, for that interim government to come and talk to, the people, or probably maybe she would have to be the one doing the same, talking as she has done, in the past when we even have her on Star Radio UK. In terms of the other, part, which is the Professor Akintoye, as they can see, they have, the YSDM, which is the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement, where he is the leader of that movement. And then there are different categories of different, people that are managing it, from the finance, to the other sectors as well. We also have different other organizations like the Global Directorate that are independent of their own, but working as well along the line. We have the Yoruba One Voice, and we have the Yoruba Central Office as well. So, but one thing is, all these units, are working, separately, apart from the YSDM that have the the margin of 70 different groups to make it up.
Well, all that says that the declaration has already been made, but back into you want to waste our time and take us to 2023 because of Tinubu. I don't know how Tinubu is influencing back into it. Maybe you feel that if Tinubu comes to power, then they'll be able to maybe have a listener audience with him. He says all the detail, Madam will give it soon. All right then. Now, Prince of Imbola says, good morning from here, Mr. Archie White Lion. Well done for bringing us news daily. Well, for the Yoruba Nation Declaration a few days ago, time will tell, all fingers crossed. Okay, although that says, Madam knew what she's doing, not like back into here who does it. Wow. Okay, now Pastor Momo says, good morning, our able men. Our own concern is TJE, is unity.
The unity. The disunity, I think
the disunity between these two groups. They should please remember the 80% of the people that are separate, and that's very, very important. They should put their heads together. If not, the fragmented front wouldn't do it for us. No, that's not time for that at all. It should come together, put differences together, have one vision, and then we can just move on from that. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's a lot of in our North London studio. I'm actually here in the South Studios, and we are bringing you the morning show. Now, 1 billion looted funds recovered under Buhari spent on what? Trader money, other programs. The ADF Malami is saying. Well, we're talking about how many crude oil that has been stolen by ships and stuff like that, let out of the country and stuff like that. And they're telling us, oh, they've done wonderful, to clap for them that they've been able to salvage 1 billion. Yummy.
Well, I remember I was at home and I had the opportunity as the vice president was coming to one of the local government in Alimosho, to talk about the trader money. And I was also privileged to be part of that, media that was on the ground when he was also making it down to Yaba area. Trader money was money that was given to the local market traders, to enhance them in what they were doing. But a lot of people were very, very skeptical that the APC government used that to allow the vote to come from the market women. But today, Malami is justifying that claim to say that the over $1 billion money that was looted, that was recovered by the present government, Muhammadu Buhari, have been spent on the trader money and other programs. Mr. Malami said the proceeds of the fight against corruption have been plugged into the nation's economy to impact the livelihood of Nigeria. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation says that President Muhammadu Buhari regime has recovered 1 billion loot fund since it assumed office in 2015. He was actually speaking on this during the Federal Executive Council meeting outcome. He added that the process of the fight against corruption had been ploughed into the nation's economy to impact the average livelihood of Nigeria through programs like school feeding program and trader money and others as well.
Okay. Well, listen, it is Starr Radio UK. We see what happens on that front. We'll be monitoring it very, very closely. But let's move on to some of the other stories. Buhari's regime should have given 218 billion naira sunk in naira redesigned to ASU. That's what Sowore is saying. Now, Sowore said outspoken, though he's not being allowed to travel or move around freely the way that he was.
He's been given that room, since the court has actually, lifted that. But whether he'll be able to leave Nigeria is a different thing entirely. And like you said, yes, Sowore, a very, very active individual, and also, a friend to Starr Radio UK, because he did appear on our program before the last election. Buhari regime should have given the value of 218 billion naira sunk in the naira redesign to ASU. It coming from Sowore. We've got a new design of the naira. We'll see if we can get the screen up later on. African Action Congress presidential candidate in 2023 election, Omoyele Sowore, has criticized President Muhammadu Buhari's regime for sinking 218 billion naira just to redesign money he said could have been better utilized addressing the demands of the academic staff union.
Now, I know that they're trying to, get rid of counterfeits in the system, and the fact that, like those who are abducting people are, keeping those monies, and they want to quash their efforts. But what explanation, what reasons have you put across? Because spending these huge sums of money, it's just gone. Just call it, it's gone. You just have new currency. What has been the explanation?
Well, the explanation is so many reasons, that the government believes that the, people have been harboring money. And we've seen, images of people stocking money in their, underground and so much and so forth. And, behind me is the new currency that has been redesigned there, as you can tell. But it looks like a lot of Nigerians are asking whether this was just deep in some kind of, color printing and then changing that. And Sowore also saying 218 billion to get this change. But the government is justifying the reason for that because, terrorism is going across the country. And that means, more naira, either the fake one is also, being circulated. So they have to withdraw, some of this currency, which is the 1,000 naira, the 500 naira, and the 200 naira. And I think I have, I might not be able to change mine. It will be too late because there are so many diaspora that have such money. This is what the old 500 naira looks like, as at the time that we are now getting a new one. I don't have the 1,000 naira, but I have 100 naira with me. So you can tell that, these changes that has occurred, there's also been a lot of different, opinions. So let's look at what people are saying quickly before we move to the next headline that is coming. The former Senator Shehu Sani say, if it is naira color, the central bank should have just engaged a Snapchat. That is coming from him there. Fisayo says, I was playing around in a Photoshop and came up with these in an hour, 30 minutes. I took inspiration from the 100 naira, which I have here, and he has actually done his own, changes there. I redesigned a better naira note in 3 hours. So it seems a lot of Nigerians are coming with all kind of different, but it doesn't seem that for the government, as the government believe that the reason for changing these is for the better of the economy, the insecurity in the country, and all these played out when the President Muhammadu Buhari launched the new design that you've got in front of you. Also, the central bank, in one of the headlines that we have this morning, is also saying that they will monitor should anybody, and if you're looking at the bulk of that money, that is right there behind me as well. In one of the headlines also this morning, the government is actually saying that, if anybody wants to take out huge amount of money, the EFCC will be waiting for you. Maybe you want to bring out, there's a deadline for the new currency, but, and the headline says the new naira, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the EFCC, to track large withdrawals. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says that he would work with the law enforcement agency like the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offense Commission to complicate and track large withdrawals. He was actually saying this yesterday as well after the Federal Executive meeting. Starr Radio UK 1135. I'm going to come back straight to you in the studio.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Lani, quite big for you. Well, that says we are waiting for if we wait for Baba Akintoye, people will suffer forever. Baba, no idea anymore. Okay, you think that Professor Akintoye is slowing down. And then he goes on, all his nonsense, just waste of taxpayers' money. That's pertaining to the change of the notes. For nothing. Yoruba, we are out, so not of so it's none of our business. The person more it says, in fact, Nigeria is dead and buried, and I have a tear crying emoji. Lots of it there as well. But listeners, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. But we'll talk about this one not today. But I'm looking at it. Is it a way for them to control inflation? And therefore, if you take your money in, they're saying that you cannot take huge sums of money. So you can pay huge sums of money, but your money has gone in, so the banks can now control your money, and then you can just be given later. Therefore, I mean, it gives you less money in your hands to spend, and therefore, some way, somehow, they think that maybe they will use that to control inflation. Who knows? We can talk about that later on. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on to some of the other stories making the round. That's pertaining to one that I've just come on. It's up with the elections as well, and I know that you will have heard that. The national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, that's the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has expressed strong reservation over the redeployment of modern technology in the next general election. The former Nasarawa State governor expressed his reservation on Wednesday when he received a delegation of the Commonwealth pre-election team at the ruling party National Secretariat in Abuja. The team was led by Ms. Abiola Sonmonu, advisor and head of the African section political team of the Observer Group. I mean, virtually what he's trying to say that we will reject electronic transmission of results. Why do you think they want to do something of the sort? Because it's something that that is a new mode of transmission that they want to use when it comes to this election. So why are they saying that they willing to agree to that?
Remember that on Tuesday, we were talking about INEC, deploying 176,000 of this machine. So that means that, this machine is a key change to the government, to have a fair and free election. But again, as the headline, which I've actually picked up as well myself, the INEC says that we'll deploy that, but somebody is not really happy that this is going to go according to plan. And who is this person? Is actually the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, the ruling party, that has expressed fear over the deployment of the biomodal voter accreditation system known as the BVAS for the 2023 general election. And why is it a little bit concerned? Mr. Adamu said he doubts that the introduction of the BVAS by the Independent National Electoral Commission for transmission of election will produce a fair result. We actually getting a transmission today because there's an ongoing rally in Kogi State, and we can't get a very good, transmission coming out of it because the infrastructure is not good. So, and the reason for that is there's not enough infrastructure to give us the network, to give us the, the feedback. And this is the concern. So if you're going to be transmitting results from somewhere in Kogi State, in any of the local government, and the internet is not working, you will need an internet. This is not going to be evil spirit to remove, the result from Kogi and take it straight to the INEC headquarters from where the server is. And this is the concern. But let's also remember that by not having this kind of system has allowed all sorts of fraudulent election taking place in the last 20 years of Nigeria. First, I was privileged to serve as a senator, but our concern is how ready are we to deploy some of this technology as regard transmission, because we are taking a major step in transmitting election results in real time.
It's interesting. We follow it very closely because they are the ruling government, okay?
the incumbent, they are the ones supposed to see to it that it's going to be working perfectly, and then make sure the INEC gets money to buy those things. But if they're sitting there and saying that, look, we don't believe in that, then what should the PDP and the Labour Party and the other party also say that? Well, it's Starr Radio UK. Let's go to some of the other stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
And we're going to do that smoothly and very fast because we spent much time, on the other headline. We're going to take this one that is coming from one of the lawmaker in America, and the headline says, compel Nigerian government to unconditionally release the IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the U.S. lawmaker tells President Biden. It seems now more pressure on Nigerian government as more lobby by the IPOB and the Biafrans, in America and across the world. The member representing District 139 in the Texas House of Representatives, Jarvis Johnson, has asked President Joe Biden-led United States government to compel the Nigerian government to immediately, unconditionally release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, from detention. Kanu has been in the custody of the Department of the State Service after he was kidnapped and renditioned back to Nigeria in June last year, when he was kidnapped and renditioned back. But the Nigerian government continued trial on treasonable felony and terrorism charges pressed against him by the government. All that has been, thrown out of the basket. However, when October 13 this year, a 3-man panel of Court of Appeal judge in a decision ruled that Kanu's rendition from Kenya was illegal, the court was also discharged and acquitted Kanu of all charges and ordered his immediate release from the custody. But the government doesn't seem to listen, and these are so many other reasons why people are asking whether it's a one-unit country or it's just a country that is being controlled by one particular ethnic group. So as we speak right now, Nnamdi Kanu's health is getting very, deteriorated. He's becoming very weak. His lawyers and legal department are very, very concerned. And as of this morning, they've also put out another new press charges from Aloy Ejimako that says, yesterday I filed a suit against Ahmed Abubakar, the DG of the National Intelligence Agency, for his 8 days false imprisonment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya. So you can tell that Nnamdi Kanu was not just brutalized, he was also detained in Kenya. And the Kenya government are saying that they were not even aware, and he was flew out of Kenya. And all this is now, the suit is promptly by newly discovered evidence that also implicate the DG and the NIA beyond the infamous extraordinary rendition. And the question is, the unity of Nigeria, how is it going to happen in 2023? I'm just going to go straight to one more and then take us straight to, the social media, this morning. Once again, it is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I witnessed this myself when I was home last year. When you travel through the border from the southwest in the Yoruba in Nigeria going to Benin Republic, you would have to pay a lot of money. So the headline this morning says, security officials are growing very fast as 100 Lagos Badagry Seme highway illegal checkpoint is coming up to about ₦1 billion yearly, whether you collect the 5 naira, the 10 naira, the 20 naira, according to the report. Investigation how corrupt security agents have been using illegal roadblock to extort money from people in Lagos. To any doubting Thomas encountering over 100 roadblocks from Lagos Badagry Seme Expressway in Lagos State is unbelievable. However, investigation revealed this to be sad but truth on the international expressway that lead to the Republic of Benin, under the guise of using the roadblock and checkpoint to checkmate smuggling activities and providing security along the expressway in the Seme border and its environment. Security agents, including officials of the Nigerian Customs, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian military, have been subjecting unsuspecting members of the public to traumatizing experience in all the bid. Even when I traveled there, one was asking me whether I was a true Nigerian. And the question then is, if I am not a true Nigerian, it is the best option now to divide Nigeria so that I can reclaim back my right as a Yoruba man rather than a Nigerian, where your passport that you're carrying as a Nigerian citizen does not value. I was actually reading a one post on Instagram this morning, and the control immigration was asking the person his date of birth, even though he has the passport right in front of him. And they were both looking at each other as somebody that wants to kiss, according to that post. Now let's take us to the social media quickly, as it's now 11:45. The redesign of the Naira is breaking the headline on the social media. INEC is also trending, and since we've discussed INEC, we stick to that at the moment. According to Abraham Fosson, INEC has refused to release PVC to certain regions. What is happening is intentionally from INEC. So you can tell that people are now becoming concerned that INEC is not moving the PVC, even though remember that during the week this week, we talked about the court allowing extension of the PVC registration. Again, Abraham, everyone that registered for PVC in June in the north has gotten their PVC. INEC is deliberately working against the youth. Again, from Ahmed, he's also saying, "Dear Elon Musk, we plead with you to help Nigerians with the use of the Starlink for our upcoming election to aid INEC with the real-time transmission of the election result." I think I'm going to just stop there. It seems now Elon Musk has got the Nigerians asking him to give us a Starlink. And likewise, as the Yoruba are saying that should the government take off the internet, we will also be pleading with Elon Musk to allow the Starlink, as it was done in Ukraine, so that the Yoruba will still be able to transmit information in case the government might want to do otherwise.
Well, listeners, Starr Radio UK, so live we quite keep for you. I mean, we know that we're taking a lot of your time, and but before we go, Yomi.
Well, Starr Radio UK comes up Monday to Friday, where we talk about the update around Africa and the international world. But over the weekend, it's all the mix and bags that comes up. Later on tonight is going to be the property hour, but I'll be leaving you in the hands of Mr. Archie right now. For all our friends that are watching on the sister platform, we can't read all the comments, but we know you are there, and we say good morning, good afternoon. I'll be back again tomorrow, and like I say, tomorrow we'll discuss this properly. Lagos is no longer safe because there was a kidnap that we'll probably be able to talk about tomorrow, and it was right inside Lagos, but the guy was lucky. He had some spiritual, what we can call our tradition. 8 others, he says, that he left there. He's not sure what is going to happen to them. Stay safe and remain very vigilant so that you do not become a trap to woo those that are ready to kidnap us.
Yomi, thank you very much. Have a lovely afternoon, and then we'll catch up later.
Bye for now.
Right. Well, listeners, that has been updates from Nigeria.
All right. Like I said, I won't go further. I'm going to end it here, but I'll come back later. There's a lot to discuss in that shit hole country as we continue our own campaign. There's a lot to discuss, but I haven't got the time at the moment. This is how far I can go. If you haven't complained, all these things will be discussed on KOIKIMEDIA. But for now, I've seen all your campaign, all your messages. But for now, I gotta go. Bye for now.